Hi, this is Karl with the Relax, Focus, Succeed video, and today I want to talk about 5 or 6 things that are critical to having a successful blog in 2024. Now, I'm going to put this over on the Cheeky Sales Coach side of things, which means you'll see it on the Cheeky Sales Coach playlist, and if you haven't been to the Cheeky Sales Coach website, it'll be there as well. Cheeky Sales Coach is just something that I use for promotional type stuff. And since this is education on promotion, it seems to fit there. All right, thing number 1 about creating a blog. You have to know who your audience is. If you do not go through the trouble of figuring out who your audience is, do not start a blog, because it will be unfocused. It will probably be, I don't want to say stupid, but not useful to anybody because you don't know who you're writing for. Now, if it is your web log, which is the origin of blog, if it is your personal journal, then it doesn't matter. Your audience is you, or maybe your future self. That's fine. Nobody cares. But if you're going to use it for your business, or to promote a hobby or a side business, or to just help educate something, that's fine. You should identify your primary audience. Now, I'm going to talk about this from a business perspective because that's what most people use blogs for today. So the first thing you need to do is you have to know your audience. So for me, I think there are 3 obvious audiences. One is your clients. You should talk to your clients on your blog, educate them, tell them things they need to know, tips and tricks, what to watch out for, whatever your business line is. Help your clients to be more educated. And we're going to talk later about how you interact with your blog and your website and your newsletter. But having a blog makes a really great landing page for you to point to and say, here's a blog post about how you get that done. So your current clientele is your first audience, which means the obvious next audience is your prospects, right? You want to educate people about whatever it is you're talking about. And then some of them will come to you and say, oh, this sounds great. I'm glad you showed me how to do that. I'm never going to do that. Will you do this for me? Can I hire you? Will you give me advice? Will you show me how? Will you teach me? That's all good, right? And third, your blog can become a landing page for your marketing. So for example, you might create a how-to blog, and then in your marketing, you can point people to it. So I've got a really cool blog post about how you do this. Boom, boom, boom. Go to this blog, and you give them a link, and it never changes. And that's the beauty of a blog. I started blogging, I think, in 2006. So when people say, well, you used to say this and now you say that, I can literally say, it's all on the blog. It hasn't changed. You can go back and you can look at what my position has been on a particular topic for almost 20 years because it's in the blog and it all shows up in reverse chronological order. So just scroll back far enough and you'll see exactly what my thoughts were 10, 12, 15 years ago. So it's also good for long-term marketing. My most popular blog post over on my technology blog is about a very arcane piece of technology. And it gets about 2,000 or 3,000 hits a month about this very specific standard operating procedure. And that blog post is more than 10 years old. So a blog can be one of the longest paybacks you'll ever have in your marketing. So you got your current clients, you got your future clients, and you got your marketing. So those, to me, are the audiences. You might have other very specific audiences. Now, I will say, bigger than all of this you should go through the process of figuring out who your audience is. For me, I mostly focus my technology stuff on IT consultants. So if somebody gets value from my blog and they happen to be in automotive or hardware or dental or medical or legal, I don't care. That's fine. I'm not keeping it from them. But my audience is IT consultants, right? My Relax, Focus, Succeed stuff is more broad, and it's kind of for a general audience, so it's a lot less focused. And so I can do more things on my Relax, Focus, Succeed stuff. But I tend to focus on the topics of my Relax, Focus, Succeed book. So you have to decide who you're going to write for. You can't write a blog to nobody, because that's the same as not writing a blog at all. All right, so that was number 1. Thing number 2, where will you put your blog? There's really only a few realistic options today. So the long-standing option has always been to put it on your own website, and that's a good idea. You can put it on someplace like Blogger. My blogs are on Blogger, primarily because that's where I started way back then, and Blogger is owned by Google. Google loves Google. Google loves Blogger. Blogger loves Google, because they're all the same company. And so part of the reason I get the kind of traffic I do is the company that sends all the traffic sends some of it to themselves. They want to keep you on their properties as long as possible. So Blogger is clunky and difficult, and it's not as easy to find people who can make it beautiful, but it doesn't necessarily have to be beautiful. I could have a much more attractive blog. In fact, I have other blogs on other sites, and they are all much more beautiful. But my primary technology blog is on Blogger. Now, you could go to Squarespace. You could actually Google, where do I host my blog? And you'll find lots and lots of opportunities, and they'll all take your money. Blogger happens to be free, so it is a good option. Now, having said that, if I were going to push the reset button and start over today, I would place my blog on my own domain. Now, no matter what you do and no matter where it's housed, your blog should have your domain in it. So my technology blog is blog.smallbizthoughts.com. You could also do yourcompany.com/blog. That's what I do for many other things. Relax, Focus, Succeed is on relaxfocussucceed.com/blog. It's also at rfsblog.com. Both of those point to the same place. Blogs, unlike many other things, should never change. It's kind of a pain to move your entire blog content somewhere else. It can be done. It's the nature of the beast, but it's best if you don't. So this is a big decision, and the easiest decision is to put it on your primary website with, for example, either blog.company.com or company.com/blog. So that's where I would put it. Probably, again, sort of working on the 90-10 principle, you're going to want to use WordPress unless you use some hosting site like Squarespace, and then you're going to use their publishing tools. But if you put it on a site like that, you're kind of limited. And again, Substack is another option. Those organizations don't have standard WordPress plugins. And so WordPress allows you to do pretty much anything you can imagine. There's a plugin for it. So I have lots of blogs on WordPress because it's so incredibly flexible. And in fact, WordPress is designed as a communications management system, and so blogging is built in by design. Many people simply host their websites on WordPress and never use the blogging function. So chances are, if you've got a website in-house on your own domain today, you've got the ability to start blogging tomorrow. So you just have to ask your IT people to make that happen. In the long run, it doesn't much matter where you put it. If you put it on your own website, you've already paid for it, so that's good. There are some free sites, and a few of them are good. A lot of them are not so good. If the site hasn't been around very long, you are not 100% guaranteed that it's going to be around very long. And of course, if it's a paid site, that's a payment that must continue for as long as you continue to blog. So keep all of those things in mind. That's why WordPress is so flexible. It'll still cost you a bunch of money. Unless you are a web developer, you probably don't have the skills it takes to make your blog look really, really good and to have high quality graphics and whatever. So somebody else is going to have to set you up. At that point, you'll be able to find free graphics here and there on the internet, put them into your blog, and just post up, and it will look good because it was set up properly. Setting it up properly will never be free unless you want it to suck, in which case, by all means, knock yourself out. Most people don't have the skills it takes to make a modern-looking, good-looking blog, which is why templated sites exist. So you have to do a little bit of research, but when you're ready to go, all you have to do is say, oh, now I need content. Thing number 3 might seem like a sidetrack to you, but it's not. Thing number 3 is you have to have your mailing list in mind when you set up your blog. Your blog will become a primary source of getting people onto your mailing list. Your mailing list is the single greatest resource your company has for marketing. These are people who, somewhere, somehow, some way along the line, they've heard about you and they've said, click, put me on your mailing list. At least if you run a legal mailing list, that's what's happened. So you have to build your mailing list, and the way you do that is you think about, okay, what can I do on my blog? I need a link that says, join my mailing list. And of course, you have to have good content. You have to put out something that's useful, whether it's how-to videos or emotional videos or sales videos or whatever. Whatever you put up there, it has to be good enough that people will want more of it, and then they'll sign up for your mailing list. Your mailing list also allows you to say, hey, here are the things I blogged about recently. If you receive my Relax, Focus, Succeed newsletter, which you should, just go to relaxfocussucceed.com and subscribe to the newsletter. You notice that every month, it's a monthly newsletter, so I don't overwhelm your mailbox, but what I do is I say, here are recent posts on my blog. Here are recent videos on YouTube. So if you want to keep up with me, there's the latest and greatest stuff, right? So your mailing list and your blog need to cooperate with one another. They need to point to each other, and we'll come back to this in a more sophisticated way. But I just wanted to take time to point out your mailing list is absolutely essential, and you need to post it all over your blog and make sure that people sign up for your mailing list. If they like what they're seeing, then they're going to want to see more. Make it easy for you to give it to them. Thing number 4, frequency. This is probably the biggest question people have. And I would say people, for the most part, spend too much time worrying about it. So I'm just going to give you the easiest answer I can. You should blog as frequently as you want to. In my personal opinion, you should blog no less than once per month. That is 12 times a year. Now, your blog does not have to be 42 pages. It doesn't have to be 1 page. It doesn't have to be 500 words or 300 words. You can blog as long or as short as you want. I have often had people tell me that I have the worst blog in the world because both Relax, Focus, Succeed and Small Biz Thoughts, I tend to have long blog posts. And they say, oh no, your blog post should be 300 to 500 words, or it should be 500 to 1,000 words, or it should be between 1,000 and 3,000, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's got advice. But here's the deal. My blog appeals to people who want to read the longer posts that I put out. And as I mentioned, I get, 30 or 40,000 visitors a month. which is not the highest traffic in the world, but it's not nothing. And these people come back again and again and again because they find something that fits their personality and the way that they want to consume information. The people who want one paragraph nibbles of information, they go to somebody else's blog, or they go to TikTok, or they go to whatever, Instagram. They go somewhere else, and that's fine too. Your blog needs to represent your personality and your way of doing business, because ultimately you want to attract to you the people who want to do business with you, right? So just be you. And if you only want to write one paragraph once a month, you should write one paragraph once a month. You know, there's 1,000 different kinds of email newsletters, and I know you get some of them. Some have 3 points, 3 bullet points every day, 365 days a year, 366 on a leap year, which it is. So that's a heck of a commitment as a writer, even though it's only 3 bullet points. Other people write once a month or once a quarter. Some people write a long email once a week. Some people write a 1-paragraph email once a week. Again, you be you. You communicate in a fashion you like, in a frequency that you like, and you will attract people who like the way you communicate. Do not try to be someone else. You will suck at it, right? But you're excellent at being you. So be you and communicate the way you want to communicate to the people you want to communicate to. And it might take a long, long, long time, but eventually they will find you. The beauty of the internet is if you are you and people want to see you and they want to hear you and they want to read your stuff, they will eventually find you on the internet. So you got to stick with it. You got to figure out what you want to do and then just continue to be consistent. Now, you can be more frequent without any harm. Don't be less frequent than whatever you promise. So if you say, hey, I'm going to try to do this once a month, okay, do it once a month. If you say, well, I'm going to try to do this once a year. Okay, that's not much of a blog. Many, many people put up 3 blog posts and then they wonder why the world is not beating a path to their door. Well, the world has never heard of you and you don't have enough information out there to be found. So consistency will help you to be found. It will help you to find your voice, and it will help your audience to find you. So in terms of frequency, pick what you like. Pick a length that you like, pick topics that you like, and what you'll see as you begin to create the content for your blog is that there are tags and categories that will help you out. Because you say, oh, I tend to do a lot of how-to stuff. Good. The world likes how-to information, so have a category, how to do whatever it is you're blogging about. Or you might occasionally have letters and you say, oh, we get emails, or we get questions. Okay, so you have a Q&A category. You might have categories for specific topics. In my case, that might be sales or marketing or sales funnels or, you know, whatever. So there's different categories depending on what your bigger, broader audience is, which was thing number 1 way up at the top. Thing number 5. Make your blog part of your larger ecosystem. And I'm going to put a graphic here just so that you can see. It's not super complicated, but remember, your business is going to do some advertising. And by advertising, I include things like social media. Okay, so you got social media, you got your blog, but you also have your website we talked about and your newsletter. Okay, so let's say that you put out a newsletter to your clients and your prospects. Mostly the same audience as your blog. That's a good thing. In your newsletter, which might come out once a week or once a month, you just give a little note, hey, this is what I've been up to, and here's what's going on, here's some things you need to know about, here's what's new, here's what's old, and so forth. And then you say, go read my blog. Remember I said we're going to point from the newsletter to the blog? You're going to do the same thing. And then you come up with a great blog post. Let's say you've got a blog post that's how to do a certain thing and it gets a good amount of traffic. Excellent. Remember, a blog post is a permanent location on the internet, which means you can promote it on your social media and point to the blog. And you don't have to point to the top of the blog. You can point to a specific article you wrote on a specific topic 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, it doesn't matter. So it becomes truly, truly permanent. So you can go out on social media and say, I just blogged about this. Here's my process, and I go through this in the Cheeky Sales Coach videos, but basically, when I put up a new blog post, I have it set up so it automatically goes to Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, and I think it goes to Pinterest, right? And then I manually will say, oh, you know what, I should probably put that somewhere else. So occasionally I'll put it on Reddit or somewhere else, right? So the bottom line is I then rebroadcast it. My administrative assistant, Crystal, puts it, we use a tool called Hootsuite. There are many other competitors. You can just Google alternatives to Hootsuite. So we use Hootsuite to take it from the blog, and then she schedules it on each of those social media again and again and again. So it goes out about 6 times, right? So my blog continues to generate traffic out to the world that sends people to my LinkedIn, to my Facebook, to my Pinterest, right? To my Instagram. And so every blog post automatically blasts the universe with marketing, which is a beautiful thing, right? Then I go on my newsletter and I said, hey, okay, look, here's what I'm doing on Facebook and LinkedIn and blah, 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 and my blog, right? I got the blog. And then I point it to my website. Remember, again and again and again, your blog is always going to say, hey, if you have any questions, contact me. You got a contact page that's on your website. Or from time to time, you will make an offer. Hey, we'll give you a free tune-up, or we'll give you a free checkup, or we've got a 68-point list that you should look at. Go to my website and check it out. People go to the website, they sign up for your newsletter, and they ask for a free consultation. That is marketing, and it costs you nothing. It literally falls into the category of you just have to do it. So at the end of the day, your website and your blog are together, or at least they look like they're together, because even if the blog is hosted somewhere else, it's still got your domain name. So they both look like they're at yourcompany.com, and they point to each other. Your newsletter points to the website, obviously, points to the blog. Your advertising points to the website, the newsletter, and the blog, right? So you've got this ecosystem that helps you to echo your message again and again and again. The world is able to find you because of this echoing system, this ecosystem of marketing that just sort of builds itself, and all it takes is a minimal amount of effort for you to think about, what will I blog about this month or this week or whatever your frequency is. I do think once a month is a great cadence for getting started. It's doable. Again, it doesn't have to be long. You go, hey, these are some random thoughts from somebody who wanted to blog today. And you will find your audience, and then you just remember to put it in the newsletter. Remember to do a newsletter, right? And remember to, talk to people when they comment on your blog. Comment back. Give them a reply. If somebody asks you a question, answer it. If somebody sends you an email or fills out the form, contact them. They are a prospect. This is the reason that you're doing all of this. Your goal is to get more marketing done. Your goal is to get more clients. And that happens when you communicate 2 ways with them. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. When people read your blog a lot, and your newsletter, and see you on Facebook and LinkedIn and so forth, they think they know you, they feel like they can communicate with you, and they are willing to do business with you. It is a truly beautiful thing. And finally, thing number 6, Relax. None of this is critical. This will not make your business instantly successful overnight. This is a long play, which means you can be kind to yourself. You can start over. You can push the reset button any day you want. If you started a blog 3 years ago and it's got one crappy post that nobody paid any attention to, fine. Start another one today. Start another one next week, next month. Keep doing them. Keep going at it once a month, once a month, once a month. When you finally hit a topic that people respond to, double down on it, but relax. There's nothing critical about this. Again, you've designed a system that is based on you. It's you being you, talking to the audience you want to attract. So engage them and just relax about the whole thing. Put out information that you would find useful. One of my favorite bloggers of all time, Susan Bradley, back in the day of Small Business Server, what she would do is she would fix a problem that might take her, weeks to figure out. But when she finally figured out the answer, she would blog about it. In part for people like me trying to figure things out, but also this was where she stored answers so that whenever she had that problem again, she would go do a search on her own blog to find the answers. I think that's one of the most genius things of all time. It guaranteed that her blog was extremely useful, right? Because she knew that it was designed in a way that she had the right categories and the right keywords. Everything was tagged appropriately. It had screenshots and it had examples with, the code that you actually needed to fix something. So when she had a problem, she would go to her own website and she would look it up and she would find the answer. And guess what? So did thousands, tens and tens of thousands of people all over the world learned about the products that she was supporting because she was having a public conversation about it. So then people would share things, or they would even ask the question, well, what does Susan say about that? And there were times, again and again and again, where I went to document something for my staff and I would say, verify that this is still the process that Susan is recommending. So people like me would put a link to her blog in our documentation for our technicians, right? That's what you want to do. Be truly useful to the universe. Give people information that they want. They will continue to come back. You will be contributing to the bigger picture. And if you have any questions on where to start, Google, how do I start a blog? And there's a billion blogs you can read today. So I encourage you to just jump in and remember, nobody else is watching until you start building your audience. So just you be you, go out there and don't worry about what other people think. Just go do what you want to do and you will contribute to the bigger picture within your industry or your hobby or whatever you're doing. For the Cheeky Sales Coach, this is Karl Palachuk at Relax, Focus, Succeed, wishing you the best of luck in everything you do. Call to action. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss a thing.